and welcome to the Enchanted Journal. My name is Shannon, and today we're going to be exploring another Halloween edition, the Turkish folklore of Shahmaran, also known as the Snake Queen.
In the shadow of the ancient mountains, where the sun dipped into darkness and the rivers whispered secrets to the wind, the kingdom of eerie lay hidden. Its people lived simple lives, unaware of the darkness that stirred beneath their feet. The magician, named Malachi, appeared in Shahmaran's life with a charismatic smile and piercing green eyes that seemed to see right through her. He was tall and lean, with jet black hair that fell across his forehead in effortless waves. His presence commanded attention, and Shahmaran felt drawn to him almost immediately. Malachi's intentions were unclear, but his words dripped with honey, sweet-talking Shahmaran into a false sense of security. She found herself wanting to believe him, to trust in the promises he whispered in her ear. As Shahmaran listened to Malachi's promises, she began to feel a sense of excitement and wonder. He spoke of magic and power, of possibilities beyond her wildest dreams. And though a small part of her mind warned her to beware, she couldn't shake the feeling that Malachi was offering her a key to unlock a secret world. Of course, beautiful Shahmaran deserves only the most enchanting surroundings. Let's weave a spell of loveliness around her, with lush gardens, sparkling fountains, and majestic architecture that reflects her own inner radiance, he said. As Shahmaran walked alongside Malachi, the warm sunlight danced across her face, illuminating the delicate features that had captivated him from the moment he laid eyes on her. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the soft chirping of birds provided a soothing melody that seemed to match the rhythm of her heartbeat. The tranquil atmosphere suited Shahmaran perfectly, and Malachi couldn't help but notice the way her beauty seemed to bloom in harmony with the surroundings. The garden was a haven, and Shahmaran's presence only added to its allure. Malachi's eyes lingered on her, taking in the gentle curve of her neck and the subtle sparkle in her eyes. Malachi's plan was shrouded in mystery, but Shahmaran could sense a hint of mischief lurking behind his enigmatic smile. He led her deeper into the garden, the path winding between towering trees that blocked out most of the sunlight, casting the area in a mystical gloom. Malachi stopped in front of a pedestal, upon which rested a delicate glass vial filled with a shimmering liquid that seemed to dance in the fading light. He turned to Shahmaran, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity, and held out the vial, saying, "This is the essence of the garden's magic, distilled into a single draught. Drink it, and your deepest desires shall be fulfilled." "Your Majesty, Queen Shahmaran, do not hesitate. This potion holds the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe, and with it, you shall possess the power to shape the destiny of your kingdom. Think of all that you can accomplish, all that you can create, and all that you can protect. Your people will prosper, your land will flourish, and your legacy will be cemented forever. Trust in my words, Your Majesty, and take this gift that I offer you." Her Majesty's innocence makes her all the more susceptible to the allure of the potion's promise. Malachi's persuasive words may strike a chord within her. Her youth and inexperience may lead her to underestimate the potential risks involved. With a gentle nod, Malachi handed the vial to Queen Shahmaran, whose slender fingers closed around it as if cradling a precious gem. She brought the vial to her lips, and in a movement both hesitant and resolute, she drank the shimmering liquid in one swift motion. 100 years have passed since the transformation, and the landscape has changed dramatically. New civilizations have risen, old ones have fallen, and the world has grown accustomed to the whispered rumors of the eternal Snake Queen, whose dominion over the reptilian realm remains unchallenged. Her empire has expanded, spanning continents and seas, with serpents of every kind bowing to her authority. She reflects on the magician's treachery, recalling the words he spoke as he offered her the enchanted elixir, promising to fulfill her greatest desires. In reality, the potion awakened a power within her, one that twisted her form and bound her to the serpentine realm, condemning Malachi himself to be the first victim of her newfound abilities, transformed into a serpent as punishment for his deceit. The Snake Queen's thoughts drift back to the day of her transformation, remembering the shock and horror as she watched Malachi fall to the ground, his body contorting into a serpent's form. She recalls the sensation of her own powers surging forth, binding her to the serpents and granting her dominion over them. Her mind wanders to the irony of her situation. Malachi's attempt to manipulate her had ultimately led to her rise as the supreme ruler of the serpentine realm, while he became the first of many serpents to bow to her will. The memory of his treachery still burns within her, fueling her determination to maintain her grip on power. The Snake Queen stands before her ornate mirror, its surface polished to a golden sheen. As she gazes at her reflection, she sees a creature both majestic and terrifying. Her humanoid upper body merges seamlessly into the scaled coils of a massive serpent, its body a mesmerizing pattern of emerald green and sapphire blue. Her piercing emerald eyes seem to glow in a dim light, illuminating the intricate patterns etched into the mirror's frame. Her gaze lingers on the mirror's surface, taking in the subtle nuances of her own visage. The delicate features of her face are still recognizable, a testament to the remnants of her beauty and humanity, yet they seem subtly altered, as if infused with a serpentine essence. The Snake Queen's reflection reveals the most striking feature of her transformation, her forked tongue, a thin, pointed extension that darts in and out of her mouth, tasting the air with an unnerving rapidity, as if sensing the very atmosphere itself. Her tail stretches out behind her, a sinuous length of scaled muscle that quivers with potency. At what should be the tail is another head, a giant snake head, with protruding dropping fangs. Both heads adorned with a crown. The snake head twitching with agitation, warning of the coiled fury that lies beneath her regal demeanor, a subtle reminder that she is a force to be reckoned with, a monarch not to be trifled with. The flame dances across her scales, casting a hypnotic rhythm of light and shadow. Tiny diamonds of iridescence glimmer to life, reflecting the warm, golden hue of the candle's fire as it slices through the darker tones of her serpentine hide. With each gentle tremor, the shadows deepen, only to be reborn as the light catches another facet, creating a mesmerizing display of shifting colors and textures that seem to shift and writhe like living things. Her hair is a rich, dark brown, cascading down her back in loose waves, framing her face and accentuating the sharp lines of her features, a stark contrast to the radiant colors that dance across her scales. The Snake Queen's torso is adorned with two glittering emeralds, situated where human breasts would be, pulsing softly with a warm, inner light that seems almost alive, radiating an aura of vitality and mystical energy. The crown resting atop the Snake Queen's head is a masterpiece of dark, Gothic beauty, its twisted metal curves resembling the coils of a serpent, studded with gleaming onyx and rubies that seem to absorb the candlelight around her, casting a somber, regal glow over her already imposing presence. Her gaze falls upon the prince, his features etched with a mix of weariness and resignation, a testament to the countless years spent trapped in her lair, yet his eyes still hold a spark of defiant courage, undiminished by his captivity. Lashing her tongue tasting the air, her lips curl into a cruel smile as she savors the scent of her venom, her fangs bared in anticipation, the chains binding the prince to the wall seeming to hum with a malevolent energy. The heavy silence between the Snake Queen and her prisoner hangs thick with tension, punctuated only by the muted rattling of chains and the soft hiss of her reptilian breath. The prince had ventured into the Snake Queen's domain seeking to exploit her legendary powers, hoping to harness her magic to secure his kingdom's prosperity. However, the Snake Queen saw through his intentions and was drawn to the audacity and bravery he displayed in attempting to bend her will to his advantage. The prince's boldness sparked a twisted fascination within her, enough to warrant sparing his life and turning him into a prized possession, a trophy to adorn her dark kingdom. Her dark palace, hidden away in a labyrinthine network of twisting caverns, is a temple dedicated to her twisted glory. The throne room, however, was a garden, her magic allowing it to bloom, tropical flowers climbing the walls. Her magic was astounding, and could bestow the greatest of powers, abilities and create magical items to entrap her victims. None could outsmart her. The mightiest of serpents, thousands of serpents, their scaly bodies writhing in ecstasy, fill every corner of the outer chambers. Their forked tongues darting in and out in a constant litany of adoration for the queen, as they bask in the radiance of their goddess, the Snake Queen, Shahmaran. The flickering flame of candlelight casts eerie shadows on the stone walls of the palace, illuminating the twisted faces of the serpents as they writhe and twist in fervent devotion, their unblinking eyes fixed upon the radiant figure of their goddess, the Snake Queen. There, deep within the twisted heart of the poison path, where gnarled trees writhe like tortured souls, and the air clings heavy with the stench of decay and death, her lair is hidden beneath the swirling mists, a labyrinthine den of darkness and shadow, where the very earth itself seems to exhale a chill, damp breath that freezes the blood in veins. Unfound, unless seeked. The prince's reputation preceded him, a man of undeniable charm and cunning, with a smile that can disarm even the most skeptical of souls, but rumors of his ruthless ambition have long been whispered among the nobles. Prince Spencer emerges from the mist-shrouded gloom, his piercing gaze scanning the twisted surroundings as he approaches the eerie threshold of the Snake Queen's lair. Fixing his hat upon his head, his confident stride falters for a moment as he feels the weight of the consequences, should he fail. The air thickening with anticipation of the trials to come. The tension builds, like a coiled spring waiting to unleash its energy, as Prince Spencer prepares himself for the unknown dangers that lie ahead. As he rounds the final bend, the tangled foliage parts like a veil, revealing the entrance to the lair, half hidden behind a cascading wall of vines and creepers, its existence a secret kept for centuries, until now, when Prince Spencer's relentless pursuit finally uncovers it. The discovery sparks a mix of excitement and trepidation in Prince Spencer, as he gazes upon the lair's entrance, wondering what secrets and dangers lie within, and whether his quest will finally yield the results he seeks. His weary eyes scan the entrance, taking in the intricate carvings and symbols etched into the stone, a testament to the ancient power and mystery that dwells within. The silence is oppressive, heavy with anticipation, as Prince Spencer stands poised on the threshold, his footprints halting inches from the entrance, as if hesitant to disturb the stillness that has reigned here for centuries. The weight of history and foreboding settles around him, a palpable force that presses against his skin, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand on. And as he steels himself to step across the threshold, the darkness inside seems to swallow everything whole, leaving only faint whispers of the past to echo back at him, a haunting reminder that he's not alone in this place. The atmosphere is electric, charged with an almost tangible sense of possibility, as Prince Spencer's determination propels him forward, into the depths of the lair, where secrets wait to be uncovered. Shadows seem to writhe and twist around him, as if alive. As Prince Spencer steps further into the lair, his footsteps echoing off cold stone walls. The air grows colder with each step, heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay. As Prince Spencer delves deeper into the lair's darkness, a faint flickering light appears in the distance, casting eerie shadows on the walls as Prince Spencer pushes forward, his heart pounding in anticipation of what lies ahead. Before he can blink the snap of a snake mouth, fangs nearly missing his face. The hissing sounds begin to grow as he begins to the silhouettes of giant otherworldly snakes hanging from the roots of the ceiling V above, coiling around his feet and up his body, as he tries to reach for his sword, but his arms are trapped. He feels the first bite, then the next, knowing of the poison these snakes are told to have. Then, blackness. When he awakes he is groggy and cold, his weapons and snake traps taken. Yet, his hands and legs were free. Looking around, the flame casts an otherworldly glow, everything is blurry as he gets to his feet. The flickering candlelight illuminating ancient artifacts and mysterious relics that line the walls, beckoning Prince Spencer closer to the heart of the lair. The room seems to be filled with relics of a bygone era, as if the lair's occupants once worshipped or studied within these very walls. What catches Prince Spencer's eye is a collection of ancient texts bound in worn leather, adorned with strange symbols that seem to shimmer in the dim light. The Symbols appear to be a form of arcane script, weaving a complex pattern of protection and concealment around the text's contents, as if to safeguard ancient secrets from prying eyes. The weariness in Prince Spencer's eyes gives way to a spark of curiosity, as he reaches out a trembling hand to touch the worn leather bindings, sensing the secrets hidden within the ancient texts. A shiver runs down his spine as his fingers make contact with the old leather, the symbols etched into the cover seeming to pulse with a faint, blue-green light. The light emanating from the symbols begins to intensify, bathing Prince Spencer's face in an ethereal glow, as if the ancient text itself is awakening from a centuries-long slumber. As the glow envelops him, Prince Spencer feels a sudden jolt of understanding, the arcane script unfolding before his mind's eye like a puzzle whose solution has been revealed at last. The revelation floods Prince Spencer's mind with visions of forgotten lore and hidden pathways, as the ancient text's secrets begin to unravel before him like threads from a tapestry. Prince Spencer's newfound understanding sheds light on the layer's purpose and the source of its dark energy, drawing him closer to uncovering the mysteries hidden within. Prince Spencer holds the ancient text, feeling a surge of energy emanating from the worn leather binding. Emboldening him, having discovered many secrets of the Queen's lair, his advantage. Prince Spencer feels a shiver run down his spine as he gazes upon the rows of ancient artifacts and mysterious relics. His attention is drawn to a large stone door in the far corner of the room, adorned with intricate carvings of snakes and other mystical creatures. The stone door is covered in a thick layer of dust, and vines have begun to wrap around its edges. As Prince Spencer reaches out to touch the door, the air around him seems to grow heavier, and the silence becomes almost palpable. Suddenly, the sound of shifting rocks echoes through the chamber, and the stone door creaks open, revealing a dimly lit passageway beyond. Prince Spencer steps through the doorway and into the passageway, his heart pounding in his chest. The air is stale and musty, and he can hear the distant sound of dripping water echoing off the cold stone walls. As he walks, the darkness seems to press in around him, making it difficult to see more than a few feet in front of him. The passageway twists and turns, leading Prince Spencer deeper into the unknown. He stumbles forward, his senses heightened as he tries to navigate the darkness. The sound of dripping water grows louder, and he catches glimpses of flickering torches in the distance, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The snakes appear to be coiled around the base of the statue, their bodies wrapping around the stone pedestal. They're motionless, seemingly mesmerized by the flickering flames of the torches, but Prince Spencer can sense their unblinking gaze fixed on him. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, and the atmosphere feels oppressive, as if the very presence of the snakes is suffocating. As Prince Spencer gazes upon the serpentine spectacle, he notices that the snakes seem to be staring directly at him, their forked tongues darting in and out of their mouths in unison. The flickering torchlight casts eerie shadows on the walls, making it seem as though the snakes are moving, slithering closer to him with every passing moment. It seems like the atmosphere has grown even more intense around the Snake Queen's statue. The silence is palpable, and the stillness of the snakes is unnerving. Their unblinking stare seems to be weighing heavily on Prince Spencer's conscience, as if they're searching for something hidden deep within his mind. The weight of the snake's collective gaze bears down on the Prince Spencer, and he can feel a creeping sense of dread spreading throughout his body. Prince Spencer's confidence seems to grow with each passing moment, despite the unsettling atmosphere surrounding him. He looks down at the snakes, a hint of amusement dancing across his face as if to say he's unimpressed by their intentions as he remembers what he has learned. He takes a step closer to the statue, his eyes locked on the snakes. Despite the fear that's creeping up his spine, he can't help but feel a sense of pride and self-importance. After all, what kind of prince gets intimidated by a few reptiles? Suddenly from around the statue a two-headed beast moved forward. An angry giant hissing snake lunged towards his face. It wore a crown. Though angry, it was a glorious and regal beast. Its scales glistened in the candlelight, reflecting hues of emerald green and sapphire blue. The queen's human eyes locked onto the prince's, piercing him with a calm yet unnerving gaze. Her beauty was piercing and enthralling. The snake head hissed as her human side drew closer, its presence seeming to fill the entire space. The queen of snakes raises a scale-tipped hand, and the prince catches sight of delicate fingers intertwined with shimmering serpentine limbs. Her form blurs, and he sees the subtle shift from human to reptile, as if she's a being torn between two natures. The queen's eyes seem to bore into the prince's soul, her gaze piercing yet mesmerizing. She begins to speak, her voice low and melodious, with a subtle hiss underlying each word. The queen's words wrap around the prince like a shroud, heavy with secrets and mystery. He can feel the weight of her gaze upon him, as if she's searching for something hidden deep within. Prince Spencer forces a confident smile, attempting to hide the tremble in his hands and the racing beat of his heart. He meets the queen's piercing gaze head-on, hoping to convey a sense of bravery and composure. The queen's gaze lingers on the prince for a moment, as if sizing him up, before she nods graciously. "I suppose you did not come to my domain simply to admire my beauty," she says, her voice dripping with amusement. "Tell me, Prince Spencer, what brings you to the heart of my kingdom?" He clears his throat as the snakes hiss persistently, launching into the reason for his visit. "I've come seeking the legendary Scepter of Light," he says, his voice firm. "It's said to possess the power to bring prosperity and peace to my kingdom." The queen's expression remains serene, but a hint of intrigue dances in her eyes. "Many have sought the Scepter of Light before," she says, "but none have succeeded. What makes you think you'll be any different, Prince Spencer?" The prince's determination faltered for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. He took a step forward, his eyes locking onto the queen's. "I've heard that the scepter is hidden deep within your kingdom, guarded by treacherous paths and fearsome creatures," he said, his voice steady. "But I'm willing to face whatever challenges lie ahead if it means bringing prosperity and power to my people." The queen's gaze pierces through him once more, her eyes burning with an inner intensity. She leans forward, her voice taking on a conspiratorial tone, and whispers, "Very well, Prince Spencer. If you're determined to find the Scepter of Light, I'll give you a choice: follow the path of shadows or walk the road of truth. But choose wisely, or the consequences will be dire." The queen's words hang in the air, casting a sense of foreboding over the prince. He considers her options carefully, weighing the risks and potential outcomes of each choice. With a resolute nod, Prince Spencer decides to take the path of shadows, drawn by the promise of wealth and power. Little does he know what darkness lies ahead. The prince navigates through the treacherous terrain, avoiding deadly traps and overcoming obstacles. The first trial was a maze filled with venomous snakes slithering across the floor. They tried to trip him up, striking out with their sharp fangs whenever he got close. Their hissing and spitting made him nervous, but Prince Spencer kept moving forward, dodging and weaving between the serpents. His heart pounded in his chest, but he refused to give in. The second trial was a hall of mirrors, where illusions of snakes appeared to writhe and twist around him, making it impossible to discern reality from deception. The reflections seemed to stretch and distort, making him question which way was forward and which was backward. Disembodied hisses echoed through the chamber, making his skin crawl. The way had trapdoors which let loose and fell below. It was a long way down. Yet, he prevailed, due to the knowledge found within the old book. The final trial pits Prince Spencer against a monstrous serpent unlike any he's ever seen. Its body is as long as a castle wall, its scales as black as coal, and its eyes glow like embers. The beast rises up from the depths of the chamber, its jaws wide open, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. And with that, the monster unleashes a deafening roar, shattering the silence and sending vibrations through the ground beneath Prince Spencer's feet. The serpent charges forward, its massive body coiling and uncoiling as it moves, causing the air to ripple with its presence. The prince stands his ground, refusing to back down despite the serpent's ferocity. His heart racing as he runs from the thunderous snake gaining behind him. He knows he must reach the Scepter of Light. His muscles scream as he doesn't dare look back. The shadow of the snake rises behind him. He is almost there, he can see it. It's glorious, it's radiant as he almost reaches it. The beach rears back, raises the scepter of light, and a brilliant beam of energy shoots forth, illuminating the dark chamber. The light seems to drive the shadows back, momentarily blinding the serpent and giving the prince an opening. The serpent's body begins to weaken under the intense light of the scepter, its hold on the chamber starting to break. It lets out a deafening scream as it slides backwards, defeated. The prince stands victorious, the scepter of light still shining brightly in his hand. The prince stands tall, his chest heaving with exhaustion, as the chamber falls silent once more. The scepter of light still shines bright, casting a warm glow over the scene. The prince's quest has come full circle, and he now holds the key to unlocking a brighter future for his kingdom. As Prince Spencer stood victorious, basking in the glory of his triumph, the mirror of truth suddenly revealed itself, its surface rippling with an otherworldly energy. The prince adoring how handsome he looked even after a battle such as this. He thought of the power he knew would wield, the enemies he could destroy and friends he could empower. The overwhelming wealth he would use for his kingdom and to pillage war for nearby kingdoms. He stood tall and proud as none had defeated the Snake Queen. All would know his name. Blinded by greed and ambition, gazing into the mirror, unaware of the terrible fate that awaited him. The mirror's dark magic coursed through the prince's veins, staining him of warm blood till he was slithering on the floor, wet and unable to speak. His serpent form slithered on the floor, a creature driven by instinct and primal urges. The magic of the mirror had witnessed the greed and chaotic intent, he was deemed unworthy. The prince's insatiable hunger for power and control blinded him to the true nature of the Snake Queen's proposition. She promised him unimaginable power, but at a steep price, his soul. The prince, convinced of his own superiority, did not realize that he was walking into a trap set by the Snake Queen, who would stop at nothing to achieve her own goals. The weight of his own desires crushed him, making him blind to the warning signs. His obsession with power consumed him, until he became a pawn in the Snake Queen's game of deceit. The prince's fate was sealed, his destiny forever intertwined with the Snake Queen's sinister plans. His choices, though misguided, were a perfect recipe for disaster, and the consequences would be devastating. The story of the prince and the Snake Queen serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition, greed, and the corrupting influence of power. Let's explore some of the symbolic meanings behind the characters and events in the story. One of the most significant symbols in this story is the snake itself. In many cultures, the snake represents transformation, knowledge and renewal. However, it can also signify danger, temptation, and deceit. The physical transformation into a snake serves as a manifestation of the prince's inner corruption, symbolizing the destruction of his former identity and the emergence of a new, debased, self-obsessed self. The prince's downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of allowing ego, ambition, and greed to cloud one's judgment. His failure to recognize the true nature of the Snake Queen's power and his own limitations ultimately lead to his demise. The story teaches us that power and knowledge can be seductive, but they shouldn't come at the expense of humility and self-awareness. The prince's tragic fate.
Thank you again for listening to our story of Shahmaran. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you next time. So until then, may the stories that haunt us also teach us.